Hello, West kids. Happy Friday. It's Mrs. Burgess again with one last story this week for us to enjoy together. Now, this story has some history to it. It is a book that was given to my daughter Emily back in 2004 from her grandma and grandpa when she had her tonsils out, and so they gave it to her to help her read and pass the time while she was recovering from that. So that's going to be our story for today. But I did want to give some shout outs to the kids who took AR tests on Dirk Bones and the Mystery of the Missing Books yesterday. Audrey, Anthony, Celine, Aiden, Christina, and Randy took AR tests on the story. Good job, guys. And Aiden and Christina got 100%. Excellent. I hope everyone was able to go out yesterday and enjoy the lovely afternoon. Maybe you rode your bikes. I know Becca has sidewalk chalk. Maybe you used some sidewalk chalk outside. Maybe you just ran around in your front yard happy to be outside. I hope that you got outside today too. It's been pretty nice outside, so hopefully you're outside maybe right now on your bicycles and you'll watch this story later on tonight before you go to bed. And I will be back next week. Next week we've got 5 days, so we'll start off Monday, and I've got more stories to read for next week. But today I'm going to read a favorite, it's kind of a silly story. I thought it would be fun to have a silly story on Friday. And it's something that whenever it happens on the carpet when we're having story time in the classroom, it always makes kids laugh and giggle. But it's something that everybody does. So today we're going to read a story called Walter the Farting Dog. Walter the Farting Dog by William Kotzwinkle and Glenn Murray. So this is an AR test, so you'll be able to take the AR test on this story. It is not a reading test, so you might have to watch the story a couple times in order for you to get an idea of the plot and the characters and some of the details, but I think you'll really enjoy Walter the Farting Dog. Here's the title page, Walter the Farting Dog, and you can see the smoke coming out of his bottom and he's letting a big fart. Betty and Billy brought Walter home from the dog pound. Nobody wanted him, said Billy, but we love him, said Betty. Well, he smells awful, said their mother. I think you'd better give him a bath. Here they are bringing him home. They're so excited with Walter. Mother walked in and said, he still smells awful. And that's when they got the first clue. The telltale bubbles in the water. He's probably just a little nervous, said Mother hopefully. His stomach must be upset. But Walter's stomach wasn't upset. Walter's stomach was fine. He felt perfectly normal. He just farted a lot. He did it when he bathed. He did it when he played with Betty and Billy. He did it when he walked around the house. Those are good details to remember. He did it in the dining room, he did it in the kitchen, and he did it in his sleep. Here's pictures of Walter. More pictures. That dog farts morning, noon, and night, said Father. He can't help it, Daddy, said Betty and Billy. They didn't mind Walter's farts. Well, what if he farts, Billy said to Betty when they were alone in their room with Walter. Betty agreed. Walter agreed too. He sat there looking innocently around, farting. Take him to the vet, said Father. Farting, said the vet, or rectal flatulence, as we say in the medical profession, and prescribed a change in diet. They gave Walter every kind of dog food. He farted. They tried him on cat food. They gave him hot dogs, hamburgers, and lettuce and tomato sandwiches. They gave him fried chicken. They gave him rabbit food. They made him a vegetarian. No matter what that dog eats, he turns it into farts, roared Father. So here he is trying different types of foods. Yeah, there's even the cat food he was trying to eat. And the cat doesn't look too happy about that, does it? Walter got the blame for everybody else's farts too. If Uncle Irv let one slip, he just went and stood near Walter. Then all he had to say was, Walter! And everyone would look at poor Walter. There's Uncle Irv, blaming it on poor Walter. He has to go back to the pound, said Father. No, Daddy, please, begged Betty and Billy. Don't send Walter away. He goes tomorrow, said Father. They pleaded. Walter farted. It was all over. That night, Betty and Billy cried in their beds, and Walter looked at them unhappily. Oh, Walter, said Betty, you've got to stop farting, because Father is going to send you back to the pound tomorrow, said Billy. And there they are in their room, trying to get Walter to stop farting. Walter knew how serious the situation was. He'd never see Betty and Billy again. He resolved to hold in his farts forever. When Betty and Billy fell asleep, he walked down to the kitchen to see if there was anything around to eat. He managed to open the cupboard door with his nose and found the 25-pound bag of low-fart dog biscuits the vet had prescribed for him, which had made him fart more. Even though he knew they made him fart more, he couldn't resist. He ate the entire bag. Very tasty, said Walter to himself. And there's Walter eating the entire bag of dog biscuits. Goodness. And then he went and lay down on the sofa. A gigantic gas bubble began to build inside him. This is going to be trouble, he said to himself nervously. He was afraid of what might happen if he let it go. He thought maybe the house would explode, so he kept it in. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was torture. But he had resolved never to fart again. His future depended on it. He didn't want to go back to the dog pound. As he lay there with his tail wrapped tightly between his legs, he heard a noise at the window. There he is on the couch. Cat's even on top trying to help him. He watched it slowly open. A pair of burglars came through the window. They dropped silently into the kitchen. Watch out for the dog, said one of the burglars. He won't bite, said the other. He's a wimp. Walter might have bitten him, except he was so filled with gas he couldn't move. They tied a rag around his snout, which is a synonym for his nose, so he couldn't bark. Okay, whispered the first burglar. Let's clear the place out. They took everything they could get their hands on. Walter wanted to stop them, but he was having unbearable gas pains. He rolled on his back and waved his paws in the air. He gnashed his teeth. We've got it all, said the second burglar. Let's go. There they are, taking things from the house. That's when Walter let it fly. It was the worst part of his life. It made a tremendous noise and shot him across the room. A hideous cloud filled the air. The burglars clutched their throats, unable to breathe. With tears in their eyes, they raced for the window. They tried to grab their bag with all the valuables in it, but their arms were too weak. Let's get out of here, they said. And there's Walter, shooting himself across the floor. And there's the burglars. Woo, they're trying to get out of that house because it is stinky. They jumped out the window and ran up the block, choking and gasping for air. Still blinded by Walter's attack, they stepped into the headlights of an approaching police car. Hold it right there, said the policeman. Ruh-roh, I think they're in trouble. When Father and Mother came down in the morning, they found the open window and they saw the bag with their valuables in it. And Walter was sitting beside it. He still had the rag around his snout. You'd have to say he looked heroic. He saved the silverware, cried Mother. He saved the VCR, which is an old-fashioned DVD player to you, cried Father. Good dog, Walter, you're our dog, even if you do fart all the time. So there they were so happy with Walter. He saved the day. And so the family learned to live with Walter, the hero dog. And that's the end of our tale, T-A-I-L. And there they are, all happy. And there's Walter, still letting one fly. But they have a little machine they invented to suck out the smell. And here's the last page. It says, Walter the Wonder Dog Park, 100% natural gas powered. And that is the tale of Walter the Farting Dog. I hope you enjoyed the story. I want you all to know that Mrs. Burgess misses you very much, and I will be back next week, and I will have a whole week full of stories for you. So keep looking at your reminds for the links to my stories. And here we go. Walter the Farting Dog, AR number 78311. AR 78311. Now remember, this is not a test that's going to read the questions and answer choices to you, but it's okay if you have an adult or an older brother and sister read the questions and the answer choices to you. Just don't let them give you the answers, and I know you'll do great. Well, once again, Mrs. Burgess wants to tell you that I miss you all very much, and I love you all, and I can't wait to see you again. Have a good weekend. Hope you can get outside and play today. Bye-bye. TTFN, as Tigger would say. And oh, Mrs. Burgess forgot. I forgot to have Bob say hi to everybody. There's Bob. Have Bob say hi. Oh, Bob doesn't want to talk today. Oh, there he goes. So Bob says bye-bye. Get outside and play and have a good weekend. Till next week. Bye.